The car I drive has a little screen, and it will tell me sometimes when I get in on it, whether or not I am connected, whether or not my device is connected. And when I'm not connected, I don't know where I'm going. When I'm not connected, I can't talk to the people that I love, that I would love to talk to. I can't listen to things that would bring beauty. And I think of my life often. Am I connected? Am I connected to my God? Am I connected to the people that I love? Am I connected to the values that I say I believe in the most deeply? How often do I experience the pain of disconnection? So we've been walking together through a whole series where we're learning we got to get out more into God's world, into God's presence, into the fruit of God's Spirit, into relationships with real people. We're coming to a close on that one. I want to tell you two family stories today that are quite personal. And then on Friday, August 8th, we're going to go live, 7 o'clock Pacific. I would love to be connected with you. Thank God for the technology that lets us do that. I'm so grateful for Become New and the Fellowship of the Withered Hand. And at the same time, of course, our screens can create real problems. So I want to tell you two stories, both from family. One is from my cousin Tiffany Stamen. You might have seen her in a video interview with me recently. She sent me something she wrote as part of the series about a time when she lost her phone. She was hiking with her family and fell in a creek, and her phone ended up in the water someplace, could never be recovered. And she had this unusual experience then of a forced fast from screen life. And she writes about going through detoxing at first and all the things that were kind of unpleasant about it. Unlike my all-millennial staff, Tiff was a Gen Xer who have never lived in an era without phones and the entire internet at their fingertips. I remember a time when people were not accessible 24/7. Growing up, we had one olive green telephone that hung on the kitchen wall with a long curly cord that was so stretched out it could reach across the entire kitchen. I have vivid memories of my brother babysitting me, sitting on the floor in the kitchen where he talked on the phone with girls when he was supposed to be paying attention to me. And brother, you know who you are. I hope for your sake Aunt Becky is not listening to this right now. What has convinced us that we need to be available to all people all day, every day? Certainly my parents did not live under such pressure, nor did I the first half of my life. Is it the control we seek to know where our loved ones are every minute, or what time they will come home, or why they're running late? What would happen if we surrendered to not having to know? Can we trust? Can we love without control? There is something freeing about not being at the beck and call of my phone and its ringing and dinging and chirping and beeping. I go to bed, and for the first time in months, I do not stare at the little rectangle glowing screen until I get sleepy. I read read people's Facebook posts, or read the day's news, or make an impulsive purchase. Instead, I lay down in bed, listen to the crickets and the frogs outside my window. The crickets and the frogs are declaring the glory of God. Cuddle up to Cam. Talk to God, Cam's her husband, until I drift off to sleep. And you might think that she just entered into this kind of blissful, non-connected life permanently, but nope, the day came when pretty quickly she had to get another phone and had the same kind of challenges. I wish I could say I experienced such tremendous freedom, that after having experienced such freedom, I had a different relationship with my phone. But before long, I was back to the same old habits, checking it first thing in the morning, carrying it with me like another hand, depending on it for practically everything, sleeping with it inches from my head, until 10 minutes later, when I set it down in the bathroom of a Mexican restaurant where I was enjoying dinner. Who takes the phone to the bathroom anyway? She writes, who would do something as idiotic as that? Beats me. I exited the bathroom without the phone, only to realize a short time later, by the time I went back to the bathroom, the phone was gone. No one had turned it in. It had been stolen. Another chance to detox. Another chance to change. Maybe it was Jesus who stole that phone. And of course, every day is another day to detox. Every day is another chance to change. So I'll remind us again as we have gone through this series in Andy Crouch's little book, The Tech Wise Family. He talks about the 10 commitments, and central to them, these ideas. We go to bed before, our devices go to bed before we do. And we wake up before our devices do, so that the beginning of the day and the end of the day belong to God. And then we have a rhythm, an hour a day a week, a week a year. I am free from my devices. And then there's an accountability piece to this. There's somebody in my life who knows me, loves me, that has my passwords, and they're able to see what it is that I do on screen. And so whatever would be helpful to you as we've gone through this series and we're bringing it to a close, so that you are mastering the technology in your life so that I am, and it's not the other way around. I want that, and want that for us. And then second kind of personal story about the connection that matters most, because our connections to devices matter most when they enable our connection to God and to His world and to truth and to goodness, and especially to other people. So this is from Andy's book, The Life We're Looking For. He talks about a piece of technology, a simple life-saving device that can be used by people who suffer from epilepsy. It looks like a smartwatch, and it's sold under the name Embrace. Epileptic seizures take thousands of lives per year, 50,000 lives worldwide. Most pose a risk of asphyxiation, which can be prevented if somebody nearby ensures the person's airway remains unobstructed and the person is resting in a secure environment. But certain seizures are so deep that a person's body will shut down altogether for lack of signals from the brain. Here's where the personal part comes in. My sister and my mom were just visiting me here where I live for a couple of days. They just left yesterday, and we were talking about our family history, including my sister's 14 months older than me. When she was very little, just a toddler, she suffered from a seizure. Might have been from a blow in the head not long before that, or who knows what reason. And it was a grand mal seizure, which is the very dramatic, very violent, very frightening kind. And so she was taken to the ER, to the doctor, took medicine for many, many years. My Aunt Fran, kind of a matriarch in my dad's family, was also a nurse. And she told my folks, now you must never tell anybody about this. Don't let anybody know. At that day, even more than our day, partly because a seizure can be such a dramatic looking thing. There could be a stigma to it, a lot of fear attached, a lot of uncertainty. So don't tell anybody. Don't use the word epilepsy. She might be regarded differently. She might have to go to a different class. And so it was hidden and medicated for many, many years, and the object of a lot of fear. My sister and I were very close growing up. One of the comments that's made about this Embrace technology that can help somebody if they're having a seizure, and he goes on to write, it turns out that to be brought back from such a deep suspension, there is one non-invasive intervention that works far better than any other. It can interrupt the misfiring neurons and reestablish normal brain function within a few moments. And here it is. Another person needs to speak to you and gently touch you, ideally calling you by name. And I thought, being with my sister, how many times over the years, I identified with my sister so closely growing up. We were convinced that we looked identical, so we would sometimes change clothes with each other, go ring the doorbell, and when my parents answered the door and they saw us there in each other's clothes, they would pretend not to know which of us was which. I identified so deeply with my sister that at a certain age, if you were to ask me my name, my response was, I am John Lynn Carl Lynn Ortberg Jr. She was Barbie Lynn Ortberg. I was John Carl Ortberg Jr. But I shared so much with her. I shared so much life with her that I figured our names must be connected. So my name I understood to be John Lynn Carl Lynn Ortberg Jr. When she was very, very little, there was a Sunday school pageant at our church, and they asked her to do a little saying. I'm the youngest person to speak here today, but you're welcome here. That's all I can say. And I was quite convinced, even though I was maybe 2, that if she was supposed to do something, I was supposed to do it. So I learned the same thing, said, I got to say it too. Another person needs to speak to you and gently touch you, ideally calling you by name. This intervention must happen within a matter of minutes in order for the person to survive such a seizure. This means the only person who can come to the rescue is someone nearby. The Embrace device is designed to alert the nearest person on a list of people the user knows, the user trusts, ideally including close neighbors. People often cling to their cell phones in case a loved one should call with an emergency, but for this kind, a cell phone is of no use. Only the nearest person can do anything. It's kind of amazing. Surviving this particular kind of episode is possible if you have someone you trust who is near to you, who will speak to you and touch you and call you by name. Activating the same sense of personal recognition that was present at the moment of your birth. And that's what connection looks like. And our misfiring neurons that lead us astray in so many ways that in moments of suffering and pain, every one of us, me for sure, experiences so deeply, and it leads into a tunnel or a kind of darkness or a kind of loss of control that I am not able to fix, and I need somebody outside myself who will touch me gently and call me by name. And we do that for each other. And of course, in our doing that for each other, it's not just us. It is God who is there, God who is present. He says, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in his name. God who is present, he says, whenever we come upon the least of these, it is God who is there. That's what deep connection looks like. That's what we're invited into, to be connected to God and to be connected to each other and gently touch each other and call each other by name. So do that today. Now, as you walk through the day, just look for people around you and gently touch them and say their name. And remember that you and I are connected in a way that can heal our misfiring neurons and bring us back to life, to the love of God. We got to get out more.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes from John. You can also visit our website, becomenew.com, to access all of our videos there, or subscribe for the emails that go with each video. But my personal favorite way to stay in the loop with Become New is by text. We will send you a text message every morning that we release a new video with the title of that video and just the link to the video. So if you want that, you can text the word BECOME to the number 855-888-0444, and we'll get those messages to you. If you've got a prayer request, there's a group of us who meet each weekday, Monday through Friday, for 1 hour to pray for viewers just like yourself. So you can text or email us your prayer request at 855-888-0444 or at connect@becomenew.com. Remember, the most important thing about your life is the person you become. We'll see you next time.